Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video, I am so excited about this one, and I know that I say this all about a lot of my videos, but this one in particular, I am super excited to be sharing with you because I'm gonna be showing you how I did my makeup on my wedding day. So I got married back in November 2017 to my very best friend, and I'm super happy. And I don't know, I've had the idea about this video for such a long time now, and I'm so glad that I'm finally getting around to making it and sharing it with you. And the reason that I decided to do my own makeup, it's just because I was super nervous about getting someone that would do something that wasn't my vision at all. In other words, I knew what I wanted and I wanted to do it myself. So it's not that I was like overly confident about my makeup skills or anything like that, because I wasn't. So I gave myself like 3 hours to do my own makeup, and I was pretty nervous about it. I don't know how I did it, but I did it, and I just wanted something that I knew I was going to be comfortable in. I didn't want someone to go in and do something super dramatic, because I knew that if I saw myself in pictures 10 years from now and I saw something that I didn't like, I was going to not like that. So again, I wanted something that I felt comfortable in, that was exactly what I wanted, and that's what I did. I watched tons of makeup tutorials on the days leading to my wedding just to practice and give myself that time. And again, on my wedding day, I gave myself 3 hours to do my own makeup, just to go through everything super carefully and make sure that everything was perfect. I was super nervous, but at the end of the day, I absolutely loved how everything turned out. I loved my wedding pictures. I loved how I looked. I loved just how I felt. I felt comfortable. I felt pretty. I felt done up. I wasn't going for something very natural looking, something that was super simplistic, because that's not who I am. I love doing my makeup and I love just feeling confident in it. So that's why I chose something that was maybe a little bit more glam than your usual bride looks, and that's why I went with something like this. And in this video, I'm gonna be showing you both of the looks that I did. I did 2 looks for my wedding. I did one that was very rosy, very more feminine, a little bit. I don't want to call it natural because it wasn't, of course, but it was just something more rosy, more feminine, more pretty. And then for the second look, I took a dark red lips, amped up the glitter, and turned it for nighttime. So I wanted something that was a little bit more sultry, more sexy for nighttime. So that's why I did 2 looks, just to make myself feel a little bit different on both of those looks. Again, something that was very feminine for the ceremony, and then something very dramatic, very nighttime, very fall-like for the reception, because again, my wedding was in November, so it allowed for something a little bit more dramatic. The colors in my wedding were burgundy, blush pink, gold, and white. So again, very dark colors, a very dark color scheme. So that's why I went with those colors. And yeah, in this tutorial, I'm gonna be showing you the entire steps and how I did those 2 looks. Hopefully you guys can take some tips and tricks, some useful things from this video, something that if you choose to do your own makeup, you know what steps to take. Maybe these will be something helpful to you. Or if you're going to a makeup artist on the day of your wedding, maybe you can grab some inspiration from here, tell them what you like, what you didn't like, and so on, to make it yours. If in the end you do like this video, don't forget to give it a big old thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more videos like these. I do a lot of unboxings, a lot of makeup, a lot of empties videos as well, a lot of art. More things are coming up this year for my channel, so make sure to stay tuned for that. Also follow me on Instagram for more behind the scenes and updates and everything like that when it comes to my channel. So without further ado, my lovely brides to be, if you want to see how I created these 2 looks, then please stay on and keep on watching. Alright guys, so let's get started. And the very first thing that I made sure to do on my wedding morning was to moisturize, of course. So the previous night, I followed my usual skincare routine, which if you haven't seen that, I will link it right over here. So I followed that, and then in the morning, I splashed my face with water like I usually do, and then I followed with a moisturizer. And I don't remember if I used this one specifically, but I am going to use today my Neutrogena Hydro Boost Water Gel Moisturizer because that's what I know will work and what's gonna keep my skin looking plump and healthy looking. I'm pretty sure this is what I used because the scent reminds me of that day. I know it sounds silly, but I'm pretty sure I did use this on my wedding day and it was absolutely wonderful. I mean, the moisturizer itself is beautiful. It just makes your skin look plump and healthy and nourished, and I absolutely love it. So I made sure to go in with that all over my skin because of course you want to look healthy in your pictures, you want to look moisturized, you want your skin to be radiant and of course be that blushing, glowing bright. And once I did that and the moisturizer is nice and sunken into your skin, I followed in with some Fix Plus. And the reason that I did that was to make sure that I gave my skin another layer of hydration and to make sure that my makeup would stay put all night long because of course it's going to be a long day, it's going to be a long ceremony, reception, and you want to make sure that your makeup stays put. Fan it out. And really take your time to make sure that each layer just sinks into your skin nicely. I actually gave myself like 3 hours to do my makeup, not only because I wanted to really take my time, but to also because I was really nervous about doing my own makeup. So I gave myself enough time to really focus on each and every step so I wouldn't mess up. And if I messed up, I would have enough time to fix it. So once that is done, I'm gonna go ahead and jump into primer, and I'm gonna use one of my favorites. I used one of my favorites, and it's the Smashbox Photo Finish Foundation Primer right here, and it's just to smooth all of your face. It's basically gonna blur everything out. It's gonna add a nice filter to your skin to make sure that that foundation lays in nice and smooth on your skin. So I applied a pea-sized amount to the areas that I usually do, which is my forehead, down my nose, a little bit on my chin, and the sides of my nose. And once again, really make sure that I massage it into my skin so that it sinks in there and it doesn't just slide around when you go in with your foundation. And once again, I am a believer in just letting your primers sink into your skin before going in right away with your foundation. Just be patient when applying it. Really make sure to press it into your skin, especially if you want it to blur out pores and things like that. Really make sure to press in that primer into your skin and let it settle in there before going in with foundation, because of course you don't want it to move around and slide around and just basically mix in with that product. And once primer was done, I went in with a layer of color correcting, and I took my LA Girl Pro Conceal High Definition Concealer in the shade Yellow, and this is just to go under my eyes because my dark circles are a tone of purple. So the opposite of that is yellow. I'm gonna go in with this one today, and again, this is just going to cancel out my dark circles and make my skin tone even. On my skin day, it was really important for me to do this because it had been a long year, restless nights, just nights of getting little to no sleep, the stress and everything else. So I really wanted to make sure that my dark circles were covered for those pictures and just that my skin tone was nice and even. Again, for pictures, for all of that, and to make sure that none of that darkness would poke through the foundation. So once it's laid out like that, you just blend it in just like you would your regular concealer and really take your time with it. Look up and make sure that it's nice and blended into your skin. And you're gonna notice right away how it's gonna even out your skin tone, and it'll allow you to start out with a nice clean base. And once again, because I did take my time during my wedding, I am taking my time right now and really make sure to blend everything nicely. I also took it up here on my lids so that the eyeshadow would have a nice and clean base, just to cover all of those little veins that I have on my eyelids, and then do the same on the other side. And you can see right away how my skin tone is nice and even now, and it's gonna be ready for foundation. And once again, you want everything to be nice and sunken into the skin. I can't stress that enough. So that when you go in with your foundation, it's not just going to like mesh all together. And today I am just using my regular Real Technique sponge. This is the one that I also used back then. It's the best sponge, affordable sponge in my opinion, when it comes to makeup. This one, and I still wanted to try the Eco Tools one and the Flower Beauty sponges. So those are coming up, and see how those work out next to this one, because I've heard great things about those too. And the next step that we're gonna go in is of course our foundation. Our skin is ready for foundation. So today I'm gonna use my Estee Lauder Double Wear Stay in Place makeup, which is this little bottle. And I've heard wonderful things about this foundation. I actually bought it just for my wedding because I heard from Patrick Starr that it was such a full coverage, nice foundation. It was a nice matte formula that would stay put. He called it like cement, that it would like stay in place all night long, which is of course what I wanted for my wedding. So I chose that one, and this is the one that we're gonna go in today. I'm just gonna dot it on my skin, and I do wish, like with everyone else, that this foundation had a pump, because sometimes it's kind of like deceiving because you feel like you're not adding enough, and this amount will be enough for your entire face. So I'm gonna go in, and then with my foundation brush, I am just gonna spread it all over my face. Make sure that I have a nice and even coverage all across my skin, my forehead. Make sure everything is nice and covered, blemishes, everything else. All of these red spots that I have, also known as pimples. Cover that. My nose. My nose is usually where I get a lot of redness. And once the foundation is nice and put in place, I'm gonna go in with my sponge and blend everything out. And you do want to work fast with this foundation because it does dry out kind of quick. So make sure to lay it out and work fast, blend it out fast. And if you do need to rehydrate your sponge for this, you can always go in with a little bit of Fix Plus too. So again, I'm just taking my time to make sure that everything is nice and blended. Under my chin, like so, and that is our foundation base. So after that, this would be a good time to jump in with our eyeshadow primer, and I am using my Urban Decay eyeshadow primer potion, the anti-aging one. So this would be a good time because number one, we're laying out our creams first before we powder, and number two, this is gonna leave a good amount of time for it to settle into the eyelids and to set before going in with eyeshadow powders, of course. So we're just gonna lay it really quick on our eyes. And you can even go on top with your sponge and really blend it in. So the very next thing that I did for my makeup was of course concealer. And for my concealer, I used the YSL Touche Eclat concealer along with just the tiniest bit of Tarte. So this one's very dewy, and the Tarte Shape Tape is very full coverage, but it can be very drying for my under eyes. So that's why I did a mixture of both. And I just apply it like I usually do underneath my eyes. A little bit down the nose, on my forehead, a little bit on my chin, like so, and just the tiniest bit again of the Shape Tape. Here, right here. And this color Light Scent is a little bit too yellow on me, so that's why I only used the tiniest bit and just blend it out. And this is really going to brighten the center of your face and really make this part the focus. And as soon as your concealer is laid out nice and creaseless, we're gonna follow up straight away with our powder. And I am using my Ride or Die, my Coty Airspun for that. And just really make sure that that is set in place. Just grab the powder with your sponge and then just lay it underneath your eyes, a little bit on your lids, on the other side. And as you can see, I'm not baking. I'm just setting the powder on my skin and really pressing it into my skin. I do have very oily skin, so if you have dry skin, don't do this and don't use too much powder, because of course you don't want your skin to look dry on your pictures. You don't want that. But for me, I do have very oily skin, so I want to make sure that my skin will look nice and mattified throughout the day, that it will look kind of glowy, but a natural glow, that it's not gonna look an oily mess. So that's why I'm really going heavy duty with the powder, because my skin can take it. The nose is definitely the place where my skin gets the oiliest. That's usually the part where it just breaks throughout the day and it just becomes super oily. So that's why I am focusing, additionally putting some extra powder on my nose, my smile lines right here, and just whatever's left over on the sponge, just drag it across my cheek. And I know I am looking a little bit ghostly right now, but once we go in with bronzer and blush and everything else, it's all gonna come together, I promise. Alright guys, so now that our foundation, concealer, and powder is nice and set, we can go in with our bronzers. And again, I know I'm looking a little bit ghostly right now, but it's all gonna come together, I promise. So for our bronzer, I'm gonna be going in with my trusty butter bronzer. It's just the bronzer that I knew was going to work, that it wasn't going to give me any issues. So that's why I went in with this one. And all I did was, of course, do my regular bronzing. Bronze the areas where I would usually bronze, right here on the sides of my cheeks, and go up my temples and a little bit under my chin as well. I am gonna go in a little bit heavier on bronzer because again, I want to counteract how light my foundation is. Now for this video's purpose, I am gonna go in with a little bit of a nose contour. Now for my wedding, I didn't, because I didn't feel too comfortable doing that. So if you're not comfortable with how you do your nose contour, if you haven't perfected it, if you don't feel too confident in your abilities in doing it, skip it, because again, you don't want to risk your pictures looking a little bit funky. If you're not going to be comfortable in the makeup that you're wearing, then don't risk it. So if you don't feel comfortable in doing nose contouring, you can definitely skip this step onto the next one. But I am going to contour my nose just for purposes of this video, just for today, because I do feel more comfortable now doing that and in how it looks. So I will go ahead and do that and I will be right back. All right, so now that our nose is nice and defined, we're going to go in with highlighter. Now with highlighter and weddings and pictures, you do want to be very careful not to overdo highlighters, especially if you're going for that natural blushing bright look, because you don't want your highlighter to look like sweat. So you don't want to look sweaty in those pictures, but you do want that natural glow. So just use a light hand with your highlighter and you will be fine. Now for this one, the one highlighter that I knew was going to be the right one was the all-time classic, my Mary-Lou Manizer by theBalm. It's this one right here, and this one was my very first highlighter. I think I bought it in like 2015, and it's just a wonderful highlighter. I still use it. It's used and abused, as you can see, and I'm gonna use that one, and I'm mainly going to focus it on this area up here instead of dragging it too close to my cheeks, because I don't want when I smile in pictures, I don't want this cheeky area right here to appear too glowy. So I am going to focus it up here just a little bit and on my brow bone. Like so. Again, you just want that glow to appear as natural as possible. You just want to glow from within. And that's literally all I'm gonna do for highlighter. and a little bit on the nose and on my cupid's bow. And the next step, of course, and one of the most important, is blush. The reason why it's so important is it's what's going to bring a little bit of color, a little bit of light back in the face. I know I'm looking a little bit ghostly, so I do need that blush color on my cheeks. And today I'm going to use the Milani powder blush in the shade Tea Rose. It's the one with the beautiful rose engraved in there, and I'm gonna use just my regular blush brush and use it on the apples of my cheeks. And I mainly want to focus it in the apples of my cheeks. I'm not gonna drag it too far to the side, just to keep it very nice and natural. I am gonna keep it right just in here. And again, when it comes to wedding makeup, you don't want to overdo it, so you don't want that 80s blush look to your cheeks. So really make sure to be careful with that. Just use a light hand. So once all of that is set, basically what you just saw was all of my powders coming in together. I powdered my face, powdered bronzer, powdered blush, highlighter. So what I'm gonna do now is just do a nice spritz of Fix Plus to mesh everything together, to make sure that everything just melts in your skin so that it looks not as powdered anymore, so that it looks like skin. And once you do that, you fan out your skin and take your sponge and really make sure to press the setting spray into your skin. If you went a little bit too harsh with your highlight, this is the time to go in and press the sponge on your skin and diffuse it. And just really make it look natural. So now what I'm gonna do really quick and off camera is go in and fill out my brows, and I'm gonna do that with my NYX micro brow pencil in the shade Espresso. So I'm gonna do that and I will be right back. And now we're gonna jump straight into eyeshadow, my favorite step. I'm so excited about it. And we're gonna go in with the best eyeshadow palette in the world, the ABH Modern Renaissance palette. And the very first thing that we're gonna do is jump straight into laying a nice base of color on our lids. And for that, I'm gonna use the shade Tempera right up here. And I'm gonna use a big fluffy brush like this one and just use that shadow all over my lid to lay out a nice clean base for the rest of my colors, for the rest of my look. I love this color so much because it's such a nice color to even everything out. It gives you a nice blank canvas on your lids. So once we have that, we're gonna go in with a fluffy brush like this one, like my BH 101 brush, my favorite of all time. And I'm gonna go in with Raw Sienna over here. And we're just gonna take it all over our crease. Now I am going to recreate my wedding look as closely as I remember. I don't have a clear memory of all of the steps that I took to create my look, like the exact shadows and everything else. So I am going to go in as closely as I can to replicate that look. And of course, I'm not gonna go too overboard with the eye look, because I do want to do something that's glam, but still more on the natural side. Just very soft, very feminine. So I don't want to go too heavy with the eyeshadow. And these eyeshadows for me were the best because I wasn't too comfortable with eyeshadows yet. So these eyeshadows were the best to work with just because they're so easy to blend out. And again, just really take your time to blend everything nicely so that you don't have any harsh lines on your eyeshadow. Like so. And now we're gonna take that same color and drag it on our lower lash line. So once that is done, I am gonna go in with just a little bit of warm taupe over here and just add it on my outer V's just to deepen out that part. So I'm just going to like stamp it right over here on my outer V's and drag it just the tiniest bit to the crease. And do the same thing on the other side. Just place the color on there, a little bit on the crease, and just blend it in circular motions like this. Now to smoke out my lower lash line just a little bit more, I'm gonna take a tiny brush and then use Cypress Umber right here and just use it on the outer portion of my lower lash line just to smoke it out a little bit, like so. Now I'm gonna switch over to the Jaclyn Hill palette and I'm gonna use this shade right here, and I'm gonna use it on my outer V's just because I wanted to incorporate a little bit of the colors in my wedding, which had burgundy, blush, pink, gold, and white. So I did want to add just a tiniest bit of burgundy on my eyes. So in order to start incorporating that color on my lid, I started out with that color first on my outer V's once again. And then after that, I'm gonna go in with a flat packer brush like this, and then go in with a more burgundy color. I'm gonna go in with this one right in the center and just add the tiniest bit just to introduce that color to my lid. And I'm gonna use it closer to the center of my lid. It's super annoying because I have a section on this eye that just won't grab pigment. It's so funny. It's this area right here. It just never wants to grab any sort of eyeshadow. I always have like a little gap right there and it's super annoying. So now that we have those colors laid out, I'm gonna go in with the main color that's gonna be on my lid, and that was the ABH single eyeshadow in the shade Pink Champagne. Go into the shadow and just pack it on your lid. And then with your finger, just make sure to blend those outer crease colors to this shimmer color, just to make sure that everything is nice and blended and that there's a smooth transition. So getting rid of this harsh line right here. And then what I literally did was look up, grab the shadow and put it on the inner portion of my lower lash line. So next what I'm gonna do is take a pencil brush and then grab the shade Vermeer right up here and just use it on my inner corners just to add that nice burst of light on your eyes, and then use it just the slightest bit on your brow bone as well. Just the slightest bit, like that. See how it catches the light? So that's basically our first eyeshadow look done. So what I'm gonna do now is go put on some eyeliner, put on some lashes, and I will be right back. And the lashes that I'm gonna be using are these Kiss lashes that you can find at any drugstore. I saw Tarte rave about this, and she said that these were some of the best lashes from the drugstore and that they were super easy to use, and I do have to agree with all of that. These are very beginner friendly lashes. They're super easy to just snap on and they look very natural, so I didn't want anything that was super dramatic. They're in the style Sultry, and again they're very natural. All they do is just add volume to your natural lashes. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. I'm gonna add eyeliner, lashes, and I will be right back. Alright guys, so eyeliner is done, lashes are done, and now we are going to be moving on to lips. And as you can see with the eyeliner, I kept it pretty simple. I just did the line on top without any wings, and the lashes, of course, just use any of your favorite lashes for this step. And for lips, I'm gonna be using the Milani liquid lipstick in the shade Precious. I thought it was like the perfect pink that I wanted for this look. And then on top of that, I'm gonna be using the Trust Fund Beauty Method to the Madness lip gloss. This one I got in an Ipsy glam bag, and again I just thought it was like the perfect combo because I'm not a fan of liquid lipsticks by themselves because they can be too drying, and I didn't want my lips to look chapped on my pictures, so that's why I used this liquid lipstick with a gloss on top. And again, I thought it was like the the perfect combo to just have a pink, really pretty pink lip. Alright guys, so now that the lips are done, setting spray is done, the very first look is completely done. Again, I wanted to do something that was very feminine, very glam, so that I would feel like done up and very glam on my wedding, very confident. And again, that's what's most important when it comes to makeup. As long as you feel confident in it, that's what matters most. So now I'm going to show you the 2 steps that I did in order to take this look to something a little bit darker, a little bit more dramatic for nighttime. For the reception, I wanted to do something that was very sexy. I wore a dress that was lacy, that had a deep cleavage, so I wanted something that was very sexy for my husband in the reception. So the 2 steps that I did was change up this eye look to something a little with more glitter and shimmer. So what I did, that the perfect solution, you probably already know this, is I took my Stila Magnificent Metals Glitter and Glow Liquid Eyeshadow in the shade Kitten Karma. And it's pretty simple. All I did was basically take the eyeshadow and just place it all over my lid. I took the little wand, just being very careful not to go in where the eyeliner is and not to cover my eyelids. I went around my lashes and I just went in and basically did kind of like a cut crease. So I went in like that, like halfway through, making sure again not to cover my eyeliner, cutting the lid like so, and then taking a finger and just blending that in for a smooth transition. That's it. And then just repeating the same thing on the other side like so. And now you have something a little bit more dramatic, more shimmery, more glitter for that night look. And the second thing that I changed for that transition was the lipstick shade. So I took this one off. After I took it off, of course, you remove a little bit of the foundation around your lips. So what you want to do is just take that sponge and just make sure everything is nice and blended for a cleaner transition. And once that is clean, I'm gonna go in with a dark red lip. That's my favorite thing in the world when it comes to like going out at night. I feel super confident in it. I feel so sexy when I wear a dark red lip. And the lipstick that I'm gonna be using for that is a Jeffree Star Cosmetics liquid lipstick in the shade Unicorn Blood. I really love this formula. It's super comfortable on the lips. It's such a beautiful pigment. It's opaque and it lasts such a long time. So I knew that if I wanted something that would last me the entire night, this was the way to go. Of course, just making sure that you're super clean on the edges. You don't want messy lines on your lips. And that is the night look. 2 simple steps that takes your look from something very feminine and very girly to something very sultry. And here's a close-up of what the nighttime look looks like. And that is it, you guys. Those were the 2 looks that I did for my wedding day. Again, it was super simple, just to take that first look into the second look and make it more nighttime appropriate, more glam, amping up that sexiness factor for my wedding. And it was just super fun to go over the entire experience and how I got ready for my wedding. I absolutely had so much fun making this video and just recreating those moments, you know, when you think back at your wedding day and how you felt in your own skin and your look and in everything else. But just remember that when it comes to your wedding day, the makeup, it's not that deep. It's not that important. What matters at the end of the day is how you feel in your own skin, how you feel in your dress, how you feel at that altar when you're in front of your future husband or wife to be, that you feel comfortable in your own skin, that you feel confident, that you remember why you're there, that you remember that what matters most is those vows, and to remember that you're marrying your best friend at the end of the day. You're marrying that person that you chose to be with for the rest of your life, and just reminiscing on all of those memories. It was just a beautiful feeling today, and I absolutely loved making this video for you guys. I really hope you're able to take some tips and tricks on everything that I did today. If this is something like too dramatic for you, maybe again, just take what you like, take what you don't. if you're going with someone with a makeup artist and doing your makeup, just be very specific in what you want and the look that you're going for. Be very specific, communicate a lot, ask a lot of questions, and just basically remember that you're the star of the show, you're the focal point, it's your wedding day, enjoy it. And just remember that all of the small things, all of those stresses are gonna go away on your wedding day. You're gonna forget about all of that once you see your significant other, once you say your I do's, all of those stresses, they're gonna be gone. So just enjoy yourself, have fun, have lots of fun, and just remember why you're there. And yeah, once again, I really hope you guys enjoyed this look, watching me go through all of the steps with you. Hopefully some things you found very useful. If you did, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more videos like these, more makeup, more playtime, more art, everything that's coming up on my channel. Stay tuned for that. A lot of exciting things are coming up. Also, don't forget to follow me on Instagram if you haven't already. Leave me a comment on what you thought about these looks. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and hopefully I will see you all on my next video. Bye guys.